Okay, undo the ABS wire from the strut. Get that off of there. Remove your tie rod in, nut, 21. Remove your 2 strut bolts. You gotta remove the nuts first, 21. These got the splines in them, so you have to punch them in that way. Punch them out. Remove the top one all the way first. Remove the second one last because it hits the steering, hits the caliper bracket. And also you need to remove your axle nut, which is a 1.25 inches. Okay? Okay, ABS wire. Tie rod in, 21, 24, 1.25 inches. Now you see how that is? You have to take it out at an angle. Okay? Pull that out. And then you can pull this whole thing out and you can pull the knuckle all the way towards you. Pull the axle out. Tie the axle all the way up with a bungee cord to your strut. Okay, this is how it is. All right, and right there it is. Okay, there's your socket. What you want to do is you want to get it loose, but you still want it connected, because we're going to bring this knuckle back over here and put one bolt through it just to hold it, and then we'll finish removing that nut. Okay, what I did was I removed the nut and then I threaded it back on there for a thread just in case it falls off. So I pushed my knuckle back up in there and I got my bolt just shoved through there, and I have my ball joint nut on there just threaded hand tight, so now I can remove it. And then now I can go down below and remove the 2 bolts that are 15 millimeter and 2 nuts on top, 18. And then you got a bolt coming through this way, which I use an 18 millimeter swivel, and it goes through the hole down in the bottom of the subframe. Okay, I'll pry my control arm down, out, get the ball joint out of the knuckle, give me a strap my steering knuckle all the way off to the side to allow this to flex up. Undo my 2 bolts with my nuts. I'll remove my 1 bolt in here, and now I can pull my control arm out. Okay, start both sides first. I'm meaning both bushings first. Okay, and you can tap them in with a hammer and then line them up and put your bolts in. Okay, I got all my bolts in and all my nuts on. Tighten those the back 2 bolts with the nuts. And I'm going to tighten this bolt. It's pretty well level, plus it's hitting the sway bar. If this arm was sticking down like that, you'll need to push it up so it's level, so you can tighten that up so you get basic ride position for the bushing. Because if you tighten it up when it's down like that, and then it's right high as up here, you put stress on that bushing. You're gonna abnormally wear it out. Okay, so now I got control arm is in. So now all I need to do is pry this down, undo my strap, get my knuckle on there, and put my nut on here, and tighten my nut up, and put my half shaft in, and my strut to my knuckle bolts and my tie rod. Okay, control arms are on. Lower ball joint is in the knuckle with the nut on. Okay, now I can remove my bolt, swing my knuckle out, and tighten my ball joint nut. Okay, it's tight. Now remove your tool and then remove your bungee cord, get your axle down in there and put your axle inside there. And put some anti-seize on your splines on your half shaft. And then once you get that in there, then you can put your 2 bolts into your knuckle and your strut. Okay, you got your strut to your knuckle bolts tight. You got the bolts bottomed out because they got the splines on them. They got to be pulled in all the way. Put your ABS wire in there, in on your bracket. Put your tie rod in on. Put your nut. Axle shaft nut, and you just snug it up. and then you need to tighten it to 180 foot-pounds in order to keep the rotor from turning. Stick a screwdriver inside the vanes of the rotor, pry them out, and now you can torque it, okay? Once you torqued it, you're all set. So now you need to do the other side exactly the same way. And then when you're all set, you need to do is put your tires on, and then you torque your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds, lower down to the ground, and you want to always make sure that you got a good brake pedal. So pump up your brakes, make sure you got a good firm pedal, because things do happen. And that will be it. So if I helped you out with this video, that's awesome. Hopefully you can help me out by subscribing, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh yeah, don't forget to put your grease zerks in and pump a couple pumps of grease in it, like 4 of them, okay? And if you got any others, go ahead and do those too. All right? There we go. 2008 Toyota Highlander. Lower ball joint, okay? What you need to do is jack it up, support it, remove the tire. And then you want to remove the little cotter pin out of the lower ball joint nut. You gotta lift it up and pull it out, the top piece. Okay, and then you need to remove this nut, loosen it up. It's 19 millimeter. Loosen it up till always up, till it goes all the way up here and hits the CV joint. Then you need to do is go through the other side over here with a hammer and break the taper loose on the knuckle for the ball joint. And once you do that, you can get a pry bar in here like that, and you can lower the knuckle down, the control arm down, and you can remove your nut the rest of the way. Okay? And once you get that nut off of there, then you need to remove these 2 nuts and this bolt. And then you can pry your control arm down and pull that ball joint out of there and put the new one in. When you get the new one in, line these 2 up, run them down, and then you can get this one started. Then you can tighten those up, those 3 up. Then you can put your nut on the ball joint and tighten that one up, and then line the castle nut with the hole and put your cotter pin in it. And that is how you do your lower ball joint, okay? If I helped you out with this video, that's awesome. Hopefully you can help me out by subscribing, and I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. All you gotta do is slide that down, and that ball joint just falls out of there. So now you just need to do is put your new one in there and then line everything up and release it. Okay? Okay. There it is, it's in there. Got my 3 bolts started, 2 nuts started, 1 bolt started. Got it lined up for the ball joint. Now all you can do is snug those up and then tighten them up. And just so you know, there is a right and a left lower ball joint, so they are different, okay? So make sure you put the right side on the right side. Aha. All right. Okay, next you want to do is snug up your ball joint nut, tighten it up, line up your hole, and put your little pin in there. And next, if you got a cotter, a grease zerk, put the grease zerk in there and tighten it up. Don't over tighten it, and then pump a couple pumps of grease in it. Okay, got grease in it. That's it. Now if you're gonna do the other side exactly the same way. So when you're done, you can put your tire on, and you need to torque it to 100 foot-pounds, your lug nuts, okay? All right.